Y'all like my hair? I'm loving this. Look at this. What? I feel like if you didn't know, you couldn't even tell that I have locks. Like you wouldn't even be able to differentiate just having regular 4C hair. It's a look. Okay. Shout out to Whitney, the great ancestor. Hi, I'm back. And I seen this meme that really resonated with me. And I wanted to share. So this is what the meme says. Um, Normalize not having academics on panels, but rather everyday people whose entire lives and experiences are what the academy's extractive research is based on. And this was by, can you see this? No. Her name is at in a dash. And the person who shared this, her name is Asia to Coach. So I really like this because this resonated with me heavy. When I was in school, tell me if y'all had these experiences. There was a lot of times when I would learn something in a class in college that was a lived experience that I didn't even know was noteworthy. So I'll give you an example. I go to school in the state that I grew up in. So a lot of times as a sociology major, sociology, you're looking at societies, you're looking at injustices and systems of oppression. A lot of the time when we're studying and comparing cities, my nephew was crying. Give me a second. I'm back. Okay. So, when you're from the hood, you don't really realize how bad things are because that's all that you know. Like, when you grow up in a certain community, it's not seen as like terrible because you grew up with that. Like, you don't know anything other than that. That's the norm for you. And if someone grew up living in the suburbs, then that's the complete opposite end of the spectrum to them. So a lot of the times we would look at systems of injustice and we would compare it to what's going on in different hoods. So in one of my classes, I think this was African American Society, we talked about how a lot of colleges, because there's a lot of colleges in my state, a lot of colleges, a lot of science programs, they dump their chemicals and the toxins that they used in different hoods. They have different sites in hoods where they drop off their chemicals, and it has real impacts on the community. It has impacts on health. It has impacts on the way that our communities look, air quality. And I just remembered learning that and getting so upset because why did I grow up not knowing that chemicals were dumped into my city? Like, was really unsettling. And another class I took, environmental justice, we had a semester long project where we had to look at the state, and we had a map of the different cities, and you had to research places of environmental injustice and plot it on the map of whatever city you find where the injustice is located. So I remember I was like I was late to that class. I transferred into that class like a little bit later. So when I started doing that assignment, a lot of places were already plotted. So say you got 20 people in a class, and if someone already plots a, a site of injustice that you were going to do, then you have to choose another one. So me like researching places of injustice, the first place that I look is the city that I'm from. So I go onto the map that everyone is using to plot their things, and my city is just full of points. Mind you, I come from the smallest city in my state. So it's a really small city. And it just has so many plots of environmental injustice. And it was only in that class that I knew that there were so many environmental problems that were in the city that I grew up in. Now, I have asthma. I grew up with asthma, and I could recall in elementary school it just being a norm. A lot of people have asthma. A lot of people, like, I remember them teaching us how to use an inhaler often. And in that class, mind you, I'm taking this class, I'm 23 years old. Knowing that there's a site, multiple sites in the water, in the river, landfills that are just polluted, and the air quality is so terrible that a lot of people in the community have asthma. And I'm like, hold the F up. You telling me I don't just have asthma? You telling me that this is because y'all disrespect my city? Because the powers that be, these capitalistic, racist institutions, just put toxins into the hood, and we're over here with asthma because of it. When I tell you that was so bothersome to me, I was like, why am I in this class? What is it that you're gonna teach me that I didn't live through? We're studying my life at this point, and I never looked at it that way. I never had that type of insight, but it almost made me feel a sense of being higher than the academics, because you're literally just studying my lived experience. Like, why am I taking a class studying what I've experienced, what I've lived through? And that comes when we look at different types of inequalities, like food inequalities and redlining and like property, like loans, housing loans, and just a lot of things. And I just wanted to put this out there because I wanted to know if any other college students from the inner city, from urban communities, have you ever had that type of realization when you were in school? Did you have a new perspective on your city of how you grew up and was like, damn, this is really fucked up? Because I did. And it just kind of, that's why I said the meme resonated with me, because people are going to school, people are studying these things to learn about it. Meanwhile, there's those of us who are living it. So it's like this hierarchy of like education and degrees is really all BS. because there are tons of people who don't have degrees who have this knowledge because that's their lived experiences. So I kind of struggle with that and kind of struggle with really understanding the importance of like college and getting a degree and social hierarchy and being viewed as worth more in society because you have a college degree. And I understand just tangibly the weight that it holds in terms of finding real opportunities and making economic advancements for yourself, your family, your community. And it is not to discredit that there's a lot of black people who are making money who haven't been to school. There's a lot of geniuses who dropped out of school. There's a lot of really smart people who are doing well for themselves, making six figures, making money, who are happy and don't have a college degree. But at the same time, it is something that's useful in society, something that can benefit you in society when you play your cards right. So, college, yes, college as a black person. I wonder, honestly, I wonder how different it would be if I went to a HBCU. I was one of those people who, in high school, I was like, well, college, I need to be prepared for the real world. I need to be prepared. I need to get used to being around white people, blah, blah, blah. And so that's why I didn't even apply to any HBCUs. But once I was like my first year in a PWI, I was like, you know what? I don't care. The real world, there is black people in the real world. Like, it's all the real world. You're going to be prepared regardless. So shout out to the HBCUs and shout out to all the black people who have been in community with black people in college. I would love to hear your stories. Did you ever have that realization the way that I did? Like, damn, it's really messed up the way that they do our cities. It's really messed up the way that my city is structured. But you didn't know no different growing up. That was just what it was. Um, yeah, let me know. Shayna the bag. I am the bag. I am worthy of the bag. The bag is mine. And y'all say those affirmations too. All right, I'm out.